The victory against the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers will be memorable for a lot of reasons. Snow, probably the biggest, but I get a sense from you and listening to your comments after the game that you really saw your football team mentally grow up in that game. Fair assessment?
Yeah, I've responded to a very, very, very challenging situation, which it takes, you know, mature kids that are able to get it done to be able to get that accomplished. You know, you look at a, you know, down 10 at half against the team that really, really, really wanted to win and had everything right there for them. They had all the momentum, they had all the emotion, they had everything that they were possibly looking for at that situation. For us to come back after a challenging halftime and get the job done, something I was really proud of.
What normally happens to a football team as it grows when they face that kind of a situation, they're successful against it? What does that oftentimes produce?
You know, it produces situations that are not as hard. You know, there's been so many times in all 8 games, there's been times on the sidelines throughout the course of the week where it's been hard, you know, which I know it's a very competitive sport and everybody's trying to do the same things that we are, and everybody's got good players and coaches that are well paid and facilities that are top notch and all the rest, but it just seems like we're just really just trying to make things hard. And once we accomplish specific things, then we kind of look at it and say, you know, it shouldn't be that hard if we do these things. So hopefully we're at that point where we look at things and we understand how to get them accomplished. You
said something back during your Tuesday press conference that was interesting. You said the Big East Conference is the most competitive conference that I've ever been involved with. Why? Because everybody's pretty even, you know, and it really doesn't matter what your record is. Everybody's pretty even, you know, and you just look at the teams who have knocked specific teams off and the week later they lose, and that's happening all over in college football. It's been happening in college football, but there's usually 1 or 2 teams at the very top, you know, that are able to play bad and still win, you know. But it's getting less and less across the country, and it's probably happening here in the Big East a little bit more than everywhere else. Defensively, you've been gearing up here. Syracuse brought it. Rutgers brings it now. Louisville, the stingiest team when it comes to scoring points in the Big East Conference, and the scary news is they're really young. Yeah,
they're talented. You know, I mean, it starts with coaching, and Coach Strong's as good a defense coordinator as there is out there, and has a very sound scheme, and it gets those guys to play hard. And the one thing I've noticed is they're deep, which means that they have, you know, they got 2 or 3 guys at each position that are competing to get for playing time. I mean, you see a specific number out there playing a certain amount of snaps one game, and then the next game you see a different guy out there playing a certain amount of snaps. So there's a competitive situation going on there that allows you as a coach to keep them accountable for their actions.
You say you like their scheme. What is their scheme? What will they do?
They'll mix it up. You know, I mean, they're like a lot of other teams are. I mean, they're going to base out of cover 2, you know, and they'll play a little bit more Tampa and move the guy back, but then they're going to bring it from either the weak side or the strong side about 50% of the time, you know, so it goes back to the same thing. We don't know when. We just got to be able to adjust on the run.
Coach, we wish you the best.
Thank you.
With defensive coordinator Jeff Casteel, boy, I tell you what, you're seeing a lot of different styles of offense here over the last several weeks. You've got a very interesting matchup this week, don't you, at quarterback in Louisville's Teddy Bridgewater?
Yeah, he's really a dynamic player and keeps getting better every week. Unfortunately for us, you know, you see him early, and boy, he just keeps getting better every game he plays. He's really athletic. He's got a great demeanor about him and composure, and is extremely athletic in avoiding the rush and keeping his eyes downfield, and so he's going to present some problems. There's no question.
They made a rare switch of coordinators in season here. When you went back and looked at their early tape and their current tape, was there much of a change schematically?
No, I don't think so. I think they're, you know, and again, you know, you're coaching the same kids. I don't think that they're going to wholesale. You know, you're still working in really 5-day increments in terms of preparing, and so I think it's pretty much stayed the same. There may be a few new wrinkles, but I think by and large the same. And if they're going to make any change with that, I would assume they'd probably be in the spring ball.
What's the biggest point that you think they'll attack you on this week? What do they like to do?
Well, you know, I think that you know, they do really a good job of spreading the ball out and throwing the football to a lot of different able receivers. You know, whether they're going to try to pound us with the run game and play action us. You know, they have that in their game, and so they run a lot of different things out of the pistol. We're going to see more option than we've seen really probably all year. They have the option game in there, so, and they've hurt people with it. So they're versatile, and you know, I'm sure they're taking a look at us and saying, you know, let's go ahead and attack. You know, people have been able to run the football, you know, consistently. I mean, it's not that we're horrible, but we're not where we would like to be, and you know, so I think they'll try to attack us there also.
From a mental standpoint, you guys give up 31 in the opening half against Rutgers, and the door was certainly open that it could look like it could have been a lot worse. You pitch a shutout in the second half of that game. What did you learn about your defense in that second half? What do you think the players learned about themselves?
Well, you know, I think number one, you know, you really have to give the kids credit for hanging in there, and you know, the first half being as bad as it was, and playing in those conditions, you know, that being 10 points down and knowing that they can't make another mistake, and you know, so battling back and playing a great second half. I mean, those kids were shivering, you know, during the game. It was cold out there, and so our kids really fought through that, and that was really good to see. You know, hopefully they're going to understand that, you know, when you do things right, and you do things with a mentality, that you have a chance to be successful, and you know, so, but the kids, you know, they worked their tails off in the second half and made enough plays to win the game, and you know, our hats are off to them, and you know, if you know, we made a few plays in the first half, we wouldn't have that problem. So you know, we'll get better.
Well, here's to hoping that it's good to be back home and we get some good weather and the Mountaineers get back into a roll.
Yeah, I hope so, and we're looking forward to it. It's always you know, the Louisville game's always been a, you know, ever since the, was it 3 overtimes down here, so it's always been a good game. It's always a great rivalry.
I wish you the best.
All right, Tony.